Why acting rich brings riches. If you don't know what you want, how can the universe deliver it? If your desires are soft, uncertain, or vague, so will be your results. Money doesn't knock on your door just because you're kind of open to the idea. No, it shows up with lightning precision when you become razor clear, crystal specific, unapologetically certain. Because clarity isn't just preference, it's power. It's the voltage that electrifies your frequency and magnetizes the exact version of reality your soul came here to live. Chapter 1. Knowing what you want. You were never meant to play it safe, small, or broad. You were meant to target your reality like a missile. Direct, decisive, undeniable. And that starts now. Let's be honest. Most people don't actually know what they want. They know what they don't want. They'll tell you they're tired of being broke, tired of saying no to dinner invites, tired of dodging the rent reminders. But ask them, what does your rich life look like? And suddenly, it's fog, silence, shrug, a few vague ideas like more, or freedom, or not worrying about bills. But vague dreams build vague realities. The universe is literal. It listens to your energy. Yes, but precision is what gives energy direction. You better believe that if you want to live like a millionaire, you better know exactly what that means to you. Let's break it open. How much money are you calling in? Monthly, not yearly. Normalize thinking in monthly numbers. What's your lifestyle cost? Not survival lifestyle. The rich version of you, living in flow, in choice, in bold elegance. Is it 10K? 25K? 6 figures a month? If it doesn't scare you a little, it's not your real dream. It's your edited one. The logical, rational version that still fits in a box you've outgrown. Be unreasonable. That's where wealth lives. Now, what does your life look like inside that number? Where do you live? What does your morning smell like? What kind of light slants through your bedroom window? Is it ocean air or the hum of penthouse stillness? What are you sipping espresso in your porcelain cup from Italy or rosewater and gratitude at the spa before your call? And what car are you gliding into, not because you need to prove, but because your taste and your worth finally caught up? Here's the energetic truth. The more real it feels in your mind, the faster it finds you in reality. In the quantum field, there is no future, only signals. And your clarity sends the clearest signal of all. There is a version of you already living the life you crave, laughing in spaces you haven't yet stepped into, writing checks with ease, giving generously, and sleeping like a god because money, for that version, isn't pressure. It's play. Wanting isn't greedy. Ambition isn't shameful. And being ultra-specific about your desires is not only allowed, it is required. You don't arrive at a dream destination by winging it. You blueprint it, energetically, with intention, with certainty, with the raging courage to say, this is what I want. No more hiding. No more maybe. This is mine. You are not here to be grateful for crumbs when you were born for the buffet. Your rich blueprint isn't a wish list. It's your energetic command center. And it cannot be created halfway. This is your chance to say yes with your whole voice, your full heart, your $1 million frequency. Say yes to the lifestyle, the generosity, the options. Say yes to the wealth of experience, time, and celebration. Say yes to the you who doesn't shrink anymore. Because when you finally get unapologetically honest about what you want, with no editing, no dimming, no polite rewrites, everything changes. You become a lighthouse, a siren call, and wealth doesn't just hear you, it races to you, with velocity, with certainty, and with the full power of your permission. This isn't about greed. It's about an activated identity, the version of you that knows herself, knows his power, knows their divine inheritance. You don't wait around hoping money blesses you. You become a reality that money doesn't want to leave. So before anything else, before we learn how to think, speak, act, and embody, we get insanely clear. Because clarity isn't a detail, it's the demand. Close your eyes, picture it, feel it, know it like your own name. That's where this begins. Not with hustle, but with the holy fire of clarity. This is not a test. This is an initiation. And the ones who dare to name their desires out loud, they activate a timeline where everything, truly everything, becomes possible. Chapter 2. Being what you want. You don't have to wait for permission to become rich. You don't need a call from the bank, a check in the mail, or proof on a spreadsheet. The wealth you're dreaming of is not outside you, It's already coded inside who you're becoming. But here's the hard truth. Most people never dare to face. Money responds to your identity, not your effort. It doesn't come to who you are right now, in your doubt and grasping. It comes to who you decide to embody, boldly, fully, irrationally, before the world gives you reasons to do so. Most people want to think their way into money. They obsess over strategies, hacks, and smart moves. But strategies follow state. Money doesn't magnetize to thoughts, it magnetizes to being, to frequency, to the energy you emit when you act, breathe, and walk like wealth is already yours. Let that land. Who you are being is the real currency. You're not chasing a bank balance. You're chasing a version of yourself that already exists in the quantum field, already living the life you crave. And the way to bridge that gap is not through time, it's through embodiment. You collapse years of waiting when you agree to become her, or him, or them, the wealthy you. Now, let's get one thing clear. This isn't about faking it. This is about fusing with it. You're not slapping on a persona. You're removing the layers that weren't ever you to begin with. The lack, the doubt, the smallness. Those were learned identities. Hand-me-down beliefs stitched together from society's instructions for how to earn your worth. But your wealthy, unapologetic, magnetic self? That's your original coding. You're simply activating it again. So ask yourself, how would I move if I already had the money? What would I allow? What would I stop tolerating? How would I speak to myself when no one's listening? What choices would I make if I trusted that wealth was inevitable, that it was already mine? Most people say, I'll feel that way once I have the money. But in this field, we say, I'll have the money once I feel that way. You go first. You decide the tone. You generate the signal. And then, only then, does reality bend to match it. This is the quantum cheat code. It's not linear. It's luminous. You become wealth, and wealth begins orbiting you like a planet rearranging itself around a sun it just discovered. Being rich is less about what's in your account and more about what's in your aura. The way you pour your coffee, the shoes you choose to wear on a random Tuesday, the way you look strangers in the eye. It either says, I'm still waiting for it, or I've already embodied it. You think the universe doesn't notice that shift? It notices everything. The universe is always scanning for leaders. Not the loudest mouths, the clearest frequencies. So as you read this, I dare you to start walking like your rich self would. Not someday, now. Spend your energy, time, and attention like it's gold, because it is. Maybe you don't buy the penthouse yet, but you clean your space like you're already living in it. Maybe you don't fly first class today, but you hold your posture like you deserve to be there. You don't have to lie, you just have to lead. Because when you become the version of you that money listens to, cash, clients, opportunities, and brilliance start competing for your attention. Not because you begged, but because you broadcasted. And there's nothing more irresistible than a human who is unapologetically anchored in a future self others haven't caught up to yet. This is spiritual bravado, quantum confidence, identity leadership. And you don't need anyone's permission slip. You're not waiting to be discovered. You're declaring yourself discovered. You are broadcasting wealth lives here, and the world will respond accordingly. Being rich is not about external luxuries. It's about internal authority. You begin walking into rooms differently, making different decisions, and noticing doors that were invisible when you were still dimming your light. You become the one who gets the text, the deal, the opportunity, not because you became more qualified, but because you were already living like it was your baseline. The future is not something that happens to you. It's something you embody now. So wear the energy of wealth before they approve it. Take actions that stretch you. Speak as if you trust where it's all headed. This is more than manifestation. It's vibrational integrity. You can't trick the field. It's responding to the version of you you're brave enough to be, even when the world hasn't caught up yet.
Be it now.
And everything you thought you had to chase will begin racing toward you. Chapter 3. Gathering what you want. We don't chase, we gather. It's a subtle shift in language, but an entire revolution in energy. You weren't born to hustle yourself into exhaustion or beg the universe to notice you. You were born magnetic. You're not chasing dollars like a dog after a car. You're summoning experiences like a sovereign calling court. When you stop scrambling and start standing, when you stop proving and start receiving, the money stops hiding. Because truthfully, it was never out there. It was just waiting for you to become matchable. This chapter is your permission slip to stop gripping, to stop hunting, to stop participating in scarcity rituals that tell you you're only worthy when you're sweating, striving, and desperate. We're not here to prove our value. We're here to gather what's already aligned. Picture your wealthy self for a moment. The future version of you, who walks into rooms and turns them electric. She isn't wondering if clients will come, if that big check will hit, if opportunities will appear. She's already aligned with them. And because she is, she gathers them. They come to her, not because she waits in passivity, but because she emits clarity, certainty, direction. Money doesn't respond to frantic energy. It responds to frequency. And your frequency is how you show up when nobody's watching. It's how you feel about yourself when there's no proof yet. It's how you carry your energy into empty bank accounts and say, still rich, still chosen, still gathering. That's power. You're not lying to your life, you're leading it. You're teaching the universe how to treat you by what you tolerate, what you expect, and what you allow. So let's break something wide open right now. Gathering is not passive. Gathering is electric elegance. It's the embodied decision to let what is meant for you find you because you trust that it has no choice. When you become a solid, undeniable yes to your rich identity, life starts shaping itself in your direction. Not because you're controlling it, but because you're calibrating to it. When you gather instead of chase, you don't force opportunities. You create a gravitational pull for them. You don't knock on 100 doors, hoping someone lets you in. You build the kind of energy that causes doors to open before you even arrive. This is harvest season, not because of toil, but because of trust. There are people right now who would pay you, promote you, support you, celebrate you, if only you'd stop showing up like someone who needs convincing. You don't need to be everything to everybody. You just need to be energetically honest with the money, moments, and miracles that belong to your timeline, and open your hands wide enough to receive them. Gathering requires faith, not the kind they taught in religious institutions, the kind you feel when you're standing on nothing, but something in your gut says it's coming anyway. This is the anchored breath that says, I don't see it yet, but my energy is already holding it. That's gathering, that's rich leadership, and that's what collapses time. You are not behind, you are not late. What's delayed is only recalibrating to the newer frequency you just claimed. Every time you return to your rich identity, not in anxious repetition, but quiet knowing, you speed it up. You don't rush divine timing. You tune to it so precisely that it has no choice but to crash into your now. You're not starting over, you're starting aligned. So stop undervaluing stillness. Stop thinking you need to keep doing more to deserve more. That's burnout behavior. And it's a relic of broke mindsets. In the world of delusional wealth, we don't worship busy, we worship power. And power doesn't chase. Power attracts. Power gathers what belongs. This is your new reality. You are the field, the magnet, the frequency that collects favor, an open channel for overflow. Your job is to hold the posture of someone who already knows to make space, energetically and physically, for everything that's arriving. Because it is. Act rich, not because you're pretending, but because it's what calibrates your life to the version of you who isn't waiting on wealth. She's welcoming it home. You don't do this with desperation. You do this with devotion to your identity, to your preference, to the future that you stopped calling maybe and finally accepted as yours. Gather now, not later. The richest version of you is not on delay. She's ready. Chapter 4. Think, speak, and act with purpose. The broke version of you? Casual, apologetic, and careless with words. Passive in thought, scattered in movement. But the rich version of you? Commanding, conscious, decisive, every word, every thought, every move charged with purpose. When you think like money is already yours, when you speak with the faith of someone who can afford to be bold, and when you act like your future is non-negotiable, the world starts to follow your lead. Reality rearranges for the one who walks like they're already there. Every thought you choose is either a deposit into your wealth identity or a withdrawal from it. Most people spray their energy in a dozen directions, worried about outcomes, reacting to the moment, speaking without vision. But you're not here for that. You're stepping into a new language, a new vibration. Wealth responds to crystal clarity, not confused energy. When you think with purpose, your frequency sharpens. When you speak from power, your field stabilizes. When you act from your desired future, that future moves toward you like a magnet. Let's talk about your words, because your voice is your wealth wand. You cannot keep saying, "I can't afford it. One day I'll be successful," or "we'll see how it goes," and expect abundance to take you seriously. Those words are laced with insecurity, fear, and delay. Your words are instructions to the quantum field. Are you instructing wealth to arrive and stay, or are you subtly pushing it away? Start replacing every "I can't" with "I'm choosing not to right now." That's power. Replace "I hope" with "I've decided." That's control. Speak like you have a seat at the table already. Think like money is just rearranging itself behind the scenes for your next move. Act like today is the prelude to the chapter where it all unfolds, not the chapter where you hesitate. Now, action. Action is where purpose crystallizes. Rich isn't passive. It's not something you wait around for like good weather. Every decision you make confirms your identity. Do you keep scrolling or invest in your growth? Do you shrink in conversations or speak with conviction? Do you ignore your impulses or follow them with fire? Acting with purpose doesn't always mean making giant moves. Sometimes it's telling yourself the truth that you've outgrown smallness and you're available for more. Watch how the rich version of you moves. She doesn't over-explain. He doesn't chase approval. They trust their yes and their no. They don't apologize for valuing their time, their ideas, their presence. Start practicing that now. Treat your day like it matters. Walk into a room like your energy is the richest thing there, because it is. Purpose isn't pressure, it's precision. It's knowing that every moment is an invitation to raise your frequency. Even making your bed can be a declaration. Even choosing what music you play in the car can be a wealth coding activation. It all adds up. There are no wasted moves when your identity is aligned. Stop outsourcing purpose to the calendar or the paycheck. You bring purpose. You infuse it into everything you touch. You are the executive producer of this life, not a side character waiting on confirmation calls from the universe. Dare to show up as someone who has already been chosen, because you have been. Wealth doesn't respond to effort alone, it responds to energetic certainty. You're not trying, you're transmitting. Can you feel the shift? The way your posture straightens when you think deliberately. How your voice steadies when you speak as if the outcome is inevitable. How decisions stop leaking energy once you make them from alignment instead of fear. That's not coincidence. That's coherence. And coherence is magnetic. You're starting to realize that everything is connected. Your thoughts are prayers. Your words are portals. Your actions are proof. There's no such thing as just thinking anymore. Just saying. Just doing. No. Everything you do now is either declaring wealth or delaying it. So choose consciously. Choose richly. This is your pivot point, where you stop acting on autopilot and start operating like a multi-dimensional, fully funded version of yourself. The mindset, the voice tone, the micro decisions, it all becomes intentional. You stop waiting, you start wielding. Think like you already have it. Speak like it's already done. Act like manifestation is your full-time job, because it is. And baby, you're getting promoted. Chapter 5. Why acting rich isn't fake. It's faith. Let them laugh. Let them call it fake. Let them whisper about how you're doing too much. You've seen the way the world reacts when someone starts showing up like they already made it. People get uncomfortable. Not because you're wrong, but because you're revealing what they've buried. You're stirring up the truth they've silenced in themselves for years. The knowing that they could be more, choose more, believe more, but haven't. And here you are, walking into rooms you technically shouldn't be in yet, making bold moves with bank accounts that haven't caught up, choosing luxury in a life that still smells like struggle. To them, it's fake. But to you, it's faith in motion. Acting rich isn't about pretending. It's about remembering. Your wealthy self already exists. Right now, in the quantum field, there's a version of you who already has the money, the clients, the freedom, the power, the peace, and the bridge between here and there is not time, it's embodiment. The faster you collapse the gap between who you are now and who you know you're becoming, the faster your future starts submitting to your now. Because identity leads and reality follows. You are never faking when you choose to act in alignment with that highest version of you. You are declaring. You are deciding. You are demonstrating what you believe more than what you want. Currently see. That is faith, and faith, in its original form, was never meant to be passive. It's not sitting around waiting. It's walking in like it's already yours. It's taking the meeting. It's buying the dress. It's raising your prices, silencing your doubt, claiming your seat at the table, not because someone handed you permission, but because your belief overpowered your background. You want to know the difference between faking it and forming it. Emotion, intention, integrity. Faking comes from fear, a place of scarcity, hoping you won't get caught, hoping no one sees, behind the curtain. But forming comes from sovereignty, from the unshakable, knowing that time is catching up to what you already decided. When you act rich, not to impress, but to express the truth you've already claimed, that's not lying, that's leadership. Every aligned action you take, before the money arrives, is a seed. When you walk into that coffee shop and order with presence, not stress, not shame, but gratitude and grounded 10. Confidence, you're planting. When you visualize your calendar filled with high-level clients, take a deep breath and speak from that version of you on your next live or call. You're watering, and when the world starts to reflect it, when opportunities find you, income starts flowing, and people say you're glowing. You're witnessing the bloom of faith that's been growing underground for months. Your subconscious isn't watching bank statements. It's watching behavior. It wants to know which story gets your loyalty. When you choose wealth emotionally, mentally, physically, while your current life still whispers maybe later, your subconscious starts updating yourself. Default setting. It says, this is who we are now. This is home. And from there, everything changes. Because belief isn't a mood, it's a muscle. The truth no one tells you is that the transformation doesn't happen the moment the money hits. It happens way before, in the depths of your tiny, outrageous yeses. The decision to walk in high standards before you have the receipts. The audacity to decline misaligned opportunities because you trust what's coming. The active tipping graciously, showing up powerfully, and speaking like someone who makes 6, 7, 8 figures, not because you're delusional, but because you are done participating in a smaller version of yourself. You are not here to blend in with broke-minded worlds that reward shrinking. You are here to be a lighthouse, a walking contradiction, a disruption to the belief that you must suffer and scrape your way into wealth. And how do you disrupt? You show up like it's done. You stop chasing and start claiming. You act like you believe the vision, and then, like magic, everyone else starts to believe it too. You didn't come here to be reasonable. You came to be rich. Rich in truth, rich in trust, rich in purpose, power, peace, and yes, money. So walk in like you've already received it. Not because you're faking it, because you finally remembered it was always yours. Chapter 6. How to think like a rich person before the money comes. You don't wait for wealth to start thinking wealthy. That's backward. That's broke logic in disguise. The real riches land in the minds that made room for them before a single dollar showed up. Before the overflow, there was a mindset. Before the results, a rehearsal. You've been taught to wait for permission, a bank balance, an opportunity, a payout. But wealthy identity doesn't knock, it walks in. Money is drawn to mental clarity. It's seduced by certainty, not scarcity. So if your thoughts are still tethered to lack, left double quotation mark, but because your thoughts are stuck in the version of you that doesn't exist anymore, it's time to upgrade the inner monologue that runs your entire life. You're not poor, you're pre-rich, pre-wealthy, pre-income-vitable. And how you think in this season of seeming lack determines how fast you collapse time. The rich think in terms of ownership, not obligation. They don't ask, can I afford this? They ask, what is the return if I do? They don't ask, what will happen if I fail? They ask, what happens when it works? That's the shift. It's not just about dollar signs. It's about dominant thoughts. The rich don't dwell in worst-case scenarios disguised as realism. Their thoughts are tilted toward opportunities, aligned actions, calculated risk, and the mindset that everything is figure out. And the best part, you can adopt that now, not when the external shifts. Now, that's your superpower. You don't manifest money from logic. You manifest it from belief. New wealth doesn't come to safe thinkers. It answers boldness. So ask yourself, what stories are you letting rent space in your mind? Are you replaying fears like broken records, or activating visions like sacred mantras? Because the thoughts you water bloom into actions, and your actions, they echo your destiny. Think like a rich person, and you begin to rewrite your brain's GPS. You choose assumptions that serve you. You download new neural pathways just by the repetition of empowered thought. Want to think rich? Talk to yourself like someone who wins. Expect solutions, dismiss doubt, decide with finality, stop rehearsing lack in your imagination, and start playing out power. Rich people don't see money as elusive. They see it as inevitable. They trust the value they bring, even when no one's clapping yet, even before the receipts. That's what anchors them, not proof, but perspective. Their thinking isn't, I hope this works. It's, I'll go again. I'm building empires. This is just data. Their mind is not shackled by failure. It's calibrated for evolution. You think like a rich person before the money comes by choosing inner wealth, when reality would tempt you otherwise. When your card declines, you breathe, not spiral. You say, this is temporary. Circumstance never had the final word. When a bill shows up, you bless it. You feel the signal it sends. You're trusting me with responsibility. I'm growing into this. Tempered to say, I can't. You upgrade it to left double quotation mark. Here's a secret that will change everything. Your mind can't tell the difference between what's vividly imagined and what's physically experienced. So feed it the truth of who you're becoming. Picture the rooms you walk into. Hear the way people greet you. Play the sound of silence on your paid-in-full car ride. Smell the oakwood floors of your dream home while you sip a coffee that costs $7 but makes you feel like a millionaire. You are writing the code your reality must follow. And your brain? It obeys the repetition of identity training. You don't tiptoe into wealth. You declare it with the conviction of someone who understands that realities bend for the bold. So update your internal language. Speak to yourself like someone who's already arrived. Think in investments, impact, and intentionality, not fear, doubt, and defense. Interrupt any thought that comes from your broke self. Catch it mid-sentence and override it with power. This isn't toxic positivity. It's identity precision. You're not avoiding reality, you're architecting it. And the moment you think like a rich person, truly think like her, breathe like her, expect like her, the world starts to treat you different, not because it changed, but because you did. There's a part of you that already knows how to do this, because wealth is your natural state. Lack was just the learned one, and you're done learning limitations. Chapter 7. Dress, speak, and decide. From rich identity, wealth is not what you wear. It's who you are when you walk into the room wearing anything. And yet, what you wear matters. How you speak matters. The decisions you make at the smallest granular level, they matter more than you've been taught. Because everything you do is either building or breaking belief in your future. It's not about expensive clothes. It's about alignment. When you dress, speak, and decide like the version of you who already has the money, you collapse the gap between where you are and where you've always known you're meant to go. You don't wait for the money to start honoring your next level energy. You lead with it. Because rich isn't a number, it's an identity. You're not just acting as if you're wealthy. You are declaring it in motion, every hour, every word, every choice. The universe doesn't wait for your bank balance to rise before responding to who you are becoming. It moves in response to decision, not delay. The way you choose your clothes in the morning, how you speak on that call, the way you carry yourself during tough decisions, all of it trains your nervous system to expect abundance. You're not just dressing your body, you're dressing your frequency for the room you belong in. So ask yourself, who are you dressing for? Who are you speaking from? Who are you deciding as? The broke self or the expanded self who already has everything she asked for? When you open your closet, do you reach for what's convenient or what's congruent? You don't need a stylist, you need a standard. Rich energy doesn't mean designer bags, although it may include them if it excites you. It means putting on clothes that match the frequency of where you're going, not where you've been. This is about coherence, alignment, activation. When you get dressed as the version of you who earns what you desire, your body shifts. You stand taller. You speak differently. You project certainty. And certainty is currency. Start small. Maybe it's one power piece, one bold lipstick, one jacket that makes you feel like a CEO. You're not trying to look rich. You're showing your brain what it already looks like to become her. This is visual scripting. Physical affirmations. Every outfit is a forecast and you're the weather. Make it rain. And your voice? That's the vibration of your bank account before a single dollar shows up. You can't talk like a victim and expect wealth to trust you. Wealth loves clarity. Clean language. Ownership. Stop saying, someday. Start saying, I am. Watch your words like you'd watch your investments. Are they growing you or draining you? You speak from standards, not struggle. You speak from already being chosen. You place orders with the universe, like a woman who knows the restaurant doesn't run out of food when she asks for the best thing on the menu. Broke language is sneaky. It shows up in tiny apologies. Left double quotation mark. Sorry to bother you. I hate to ask. I'm just trying. No, you're not trying. You're collapsing timelines with your decision. Start speaking like someone who expects things to go her way, because they already are. The universe doesn't argue with conviction. Now let's talk about decisions. Your future lives in them. You don't make a rich life by hoarding safety. You make it by choosing like someone who gets a return on her belief. Every time you make a decision from scarcity, you reinforce a reality where money is in charge. But when you decide from alignment, you become the one at the wheel. You turn your intuition into your investment strategy. You become bold with your yes and unapologetic with your no. That's wealth. Deciding from embodiment, not fear. So pause. Look at the last 3 decisions you made. Were they from alignment or anxiety? Expansion or approval? You are allowed to want what you want without explaining why. Rich people aren't magnetic because they have stuff. They're magnetic because they trust themselves. And every aligned decision is another brick in the mansion of that trust. This isn't about pretending. It's about energetic rehearsal. You are practicing the frequency of already having, not because you're delusional, but because you're deliberate. You don't rise when the money comes. You rise, and then the money recognizes you. Putting on your richest self isn't reserved for the day your account hits 100K. You start now, speak now, decide now, align now, not because it's fake, but because it's faith in motion. And when every thread on your body, every syllable in your voice, every choice in your calendar reflects who you're becoming, wealth isn't a Sunday, it's inevitable. Chapter 8. How your energy trains the universe to respond. Your vibe is talking, louder than your voice, louder than your Instagram captions, louder than the words you carefully script in your journal. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want, it responds to what you believe you already are. And belief? That's not in your mouth. It's in your being, your breath, your posture, your decisions, your frequency. Most people beg the universe for change like they're pleading with a locked bank vault, asking with a voice full of doubt, eyes scanning the world for proof before they dare feel fulfilled. But that's not how the game works. You can't wait for evidence to exhale into trust. You breathe trust first, and then the evidence flies in like it's magnetized. When you walk into a room radiating lack, uncertainty, hesitation, the universe arranges circumstances to match that energy because you trained it to. Repeatedly. Every time you chose to shrink your desire to fit your current bank balance. Every time you said, maybe someday, or let's be realistic. That was training, and the universe took notes. But here's the miracle. You can retrain it. You can flip the switch at any moment and decide that you are the energetic match for the wealth you desire. Not someday, not eventually, now. Not because your zip code changed or your salary tripled, but because you changed. And that shift forces the world around you to shift too. Your energy is your first act of creation. Every time you show up with bold expectancy, before the numbers arrive, before the emails come, before the contracts close, you create ripples in the field. The universe has no choice but to reorganize itself around your embodied certainty. Your conviction pins new coordinates into the quantum field. That's how powerful this is. Think of your energy like a signal tower. Are you broadcasting, "I hope good things happen," or "I already live in the frequency of big, unstoppable wealth"? One is noise, the other is a command. The first gets ignored. The second, the universe salutes it, aligns to it, reflects it back. So how do you know what energy you're really operating from? Look at what you tolerate. Look at the choices you make when no one's watching. Look at how you feel when you spend $5. If fear, guilt, hesitation, or hyper-control is dripping off every dollar that leaves your account, guess what you're training the universe to do? Match that fear. Echo that neediness. Keep the money small and scared, because, energetically, you're announcing you don't trust wealth to keep arriving. But trust is the portal. Trust is the code. When you start acting, not from force, but from frequency, like wealth is your norm, you instantly cut ties with the vibration of waiting. You stop sending out confusion and start emitting clarity. Wealth loves clarity. Wealth loves precision. It lands on people who energetically know they belong with it. This is why you need to stop talking about what you're trying to manifest and start walking like it's already yours. Stop preparing for the worst and start preparing for the wire transfer. Start dressing not to impress, but to express who you already are in the timeline where abundance is your atmosphere. That's not pretending. That's alignment. That's leadership. The version of you who's already rich. They don't over-justify their purchases. They don't apologize for their desires. They don't check their phone and panic when the payment hasn't hit yet. They breathe differently, sit differently, speak in declarations, not disclaimers. They aren't begging the world to catch up. They are being the world that others are inspired to follow. You are the trainer of your reality. Not once, constantly. And every time you choose feelings of certainty in the face of delay, feelings of abundance in the face of empty PayPal notifications, you're not denying reality. You're declaring a higher one the universe must catch up to. Because frequency is always first, matter follows. So hold your energy like a luxury. Refuse to be cheap with it. Protect it like you protect sacred jewelry. Priceless, specific, rare. Don't hand it over to fear, to drama, to doubt. The more deliberately you activate your fated frequency, the faster your current reality dissolves into your chosen one. This chapter is a reminder. You've always had the power to train the universe. You're not asking it to bless you. You're showing it what frequency you are permanently holding. Not when it's easy, especially when it's not. That's when manifestation becomes momentum. So keep broadcasting. Keep living from wealth. Even if your bank app hasn't told you yes yet. Because the more consistent your energy, the less it matters what the world is doing. The universe only ever mirrors you. And now, you're vibrating like it's already done. Because it is. Chapter 9. Why confidence is currency. Rich people don't wait for external validation to feel powerful. They walk into a room like they own it before anyone dares to ask for their name. That's not arrogance, that's energetic credibility. That's the kind of confidence the universe responds to like a divine yes. Because when you believe in your own inevitability, the world bows to your broadcast. Confidence isn't a bonus trait. It's not decoration on the identity of someone who finally made it. It is the foundation of everything wealthy. Confidence is currency, real, magnetic power. It's the invisible asset that cashes checks long before results show up in your account. And here's the truth that changes everything. You don't earn confidence, you decide it. The broke mind waits for evidence before it believes. The rich frequency generates belief first, and that belief bends reality. You don't become confident because you achieved something. You achieve something because you decided to be confident. You walked even when the ground felt invisible. You spoke even when the words trembled. You chose your power before the world gave you permission. This is not about being loud. This is about being clear. You move differently when you're certain. You don't over-explain. You don't hesitate. You don't shrink in rooms that feel bigger than you. You expand. You lead. You bring the temperature of success with you. And people feel it before you speak. That's wealth energy. And don't misunderstand. Confidence doesn't mean never being afraid. It means moving forward anyway, rooted in faith deeper than fear. The people who have what you want, They weren't braver, or luckier, or smarter. They just stopped outsourcing their belief. They realized the most expensive thing they could ever do was wait to feel ready. Read that again. When you act uncertain, life delays, money delays, opportunities hesitate, because energy mirrors back to you what you anchor. A lack of confidence isn't humility, it's energetic sabotage. Shrinking serves no one, not you, not your clients, not the version of you you're becoming. Thinking small is not noble, it's expensive. You want to manifest faster? Decide you're already enough. Step into rooms with an inner knowing that doesn't need to shout. Walk like someone who's been chosen by an inner vision far louder than external applause. Confidence tells the universe, I'm not waiting for approval, I'm already aligned. This level of self-certainty collapses timelines. Why? Because doubt stretches the gap between who you are and what you want. Doubt is a declaration of delay, but confidence is a tractor beam. It pulls what's meant for you with urgency. The boldness in your being gives the green light to miracles. Not someday, now. Confidence is what turns desire into decision. It turns vision into velocity. It makes your energy unforgettable, because it's no longer chasing, it's claiming. And the moment you stop leaking power and start leading your life like the result is inevitable, so much starts speeding up, you'll wonder why you waited at all. You don't need more followers, more degrees, or more proof. Your highest self isn't waiting for credentials. She's waiting for you to remember, to trust, to lead with the kind of unwavering self-belief they call crazy until it works. This is the richest frequency you'll ever hold, untouchable certainty. Practice it now, before you see a single sign. Dress like someone who already knows. Speak like someone who doesn't retract. Decide like someone the universe chooses every time. Because true wealth, it doesn't just walk around with money, it walks around with presence, with energy, with backbone. Confidence was never optional. It's the field that makes fortunes chase you. So hold your head like your dreams are inevitable. Move like you've already arrived. Because once your soul decides, the universe reconfigures. It has no other choice. Confidence is the switch. Turn it on, and everything begins to follow. Chapter 10. The power of being delusional in a broke world. They'll tell you you're crazy, that you've lost it, that you need to be realistic. The moment you dare to act, speak, and embody wealth before the evidence shows up in your bank account, the broke world will try to pull you back down into its comfort zone of mediocrity. Don't take it personally. Your existence, walking around lit up with belief in a future version of yourself, is a direct threat to everything they've bowed down to. Logic, limitation, and lack. But listen carefully. Being called delusional is a sign you're on the right path. Being misunderstood is evidence that you're no longer available for the old rules, the old roles, or the old results. You've exited the matrix. You've chosen a higher frequency. And no, you won't have receipts yet. That's the whole point. True wealth, it's built in the silence between belief and results. Delusion isn't dysfunction. It's divinity. It's possibility unfiltered by collective fear. Because this world has worshipped struggle for so long, ease looks suspicious, joy looks sketchy, confidence looks arrogant. So when you proudly declare you're wealthy, even when you're checking your bank app and wondering how you're going to cover dinner, guess what? That's power most people will never taste. That's a level of certainty you can't download from a spreadsheet. That's quantum identity. The truth is, everything great that's ever existed was once delusional. Planes were delusional. Electricity was delusional. Streaming music from invisible airwaves, absolutely delusional, until someone proved otherwise. So, when you walk into the room, like abundance is your birthright, even when your external world is still echoing scarcity, you're not lying. You're leading. You're collapsing the distance between now and next, between who you seem to be and who you've already decided you are. You know why this works? Because energy responds to choice, not to circumstance. Life mirrors your frequency, not your facts. The universe isn't tallying your bills, it's responding to your vibration. And when that vibration reads is certain, even when everything around you appears uncertain, doors open. Not because you force them, but because you tune to the version of you who walks through them without asking. This isn't about ignoring reality. It's about refusing to accept an outdated version of it as your permanent truth. You are not the bank balance. You are not the job title. You are not the number of followers or the price tag on your shoes. You are the decider of all of that. And you get to decide from desire instead of from doubt. You get to prioritize potential over proof. That's what rich people do. They project confidence based on who they know they are becoming, not who the world temporarily sees them as. So yes, be delusional. Be delusional enough to invest in yourself before it makes sense. Be delusional enough to raise your prices, show up like a leader, and command respect like someone who has already won. Be delusional enough to celebrate your future before the confetti falls, because what you're really doing is anchoring your nervous system into a new reality, signaling to the universe, this is home now. You're not hoping anymore. You're habituating. Let them laugh. Let them gossip. Let them try to make you shrink. They don't get it. And that's fine. You're too busy building wealth on a frequency they can't hear. You're too focused on the vision to be bothered by the volume. You're not delusional because you believe in something that hasn't happened yet. You're divinely attuned to the version of you who's already living it. And when the money lands, the offers flood in, the opportunities stack themselves like dominoes, ready to fall in your favor. When all the proof finally shows up, it won't be surprising. It'll feel oddly familiar, like an echo finally catching up to a song you've been humming for years. Because you didn't wait for results to give you permission. You led with belief. You walked rich before it looked rich. You created gravity with your identity. So the next time someone side-eyes your confidence, your vision board, your inspired decisions-smile, that look they're giving you, that's what it feels like to threaten mediocrity. You're not crazy, you're courageous. You're not fake, you're faithful. You're not lost, you're sad. Leading the way. In a world eager to stay broke, bland, and believable, dare to be wildly, unapologetically delusional. That's how riches show up. Not to the most practical, but to the most powerful dreamers. Chapter 11. Your brain doesn't know the difference. Use that. Here's what they never told you in school. Your brain doesn't care if something is real or imagined. It codes both the same way. Wrap your mind around that, because once you do, you realize that your ability to picture wealth, to emotionally live in it before it arrives in physical form is not just cute visualization. It's actual programming. It's neurological dominance. It's quantum rehearsal. And this is where so many people mess it up. They think, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. But the neurons in your brain, they're firing patterns now, and what you rehearse on the inside becomes the default map you act from on the outside. Want to experience it viscerally? Close your eyes and imagine biting into a thick, juicy lemon. Feel the citrus crack under your teeth, the sour rush bathing your tongue. Imagine it vividly, and your mouth will water. Why? Because your brain doesn't know it's not happening. It just reacts to the signal. That's exactly how you begin to feel rich, long before a dollar lands in your palm. You don't wait to see money in your bank account. You visualize your future, drop into the risk, energetic experience of it, and make your body believe it's real. And then, boom, your actions, your instincts, your habits, your decisions adjust to match that timeline automatically. You think rich, you feel rich, and soon enough, you become someone who shops, moves, creates like it's already done. That's not delusion, that's design. This is your backstage pass to becoming magnetic. The rich version of you is not some far-off fantasy. It's already coded in your energetic field, waiting for permission to turn on. And every time you dare to think a rich thought on repeat, every time you feel financially free before there's proof, every time you make a decision from the future instead of the fear, you are strengthening that neural pathway until it becomes your primary operating system. Wealth isn't something you become one day. It's software that boots up when you decide you're ready to live from that frequency now. Let them call you crazy. Let them mumble about reality. Their reality doesn't pay your bills. You are here to download your next level by feeling it into existence. Not because you're escaping, but because you're coding. Every day you repeat this. Left double quotation mark. This is not manifesting with your fingers crossed. This is manifesting with precision, with repetition, with sacred audacity. You picture the sale closed, the client signed, the bank statement flooded, the keys to that dream place in your hand, and you feel it with so much depth, your body believes it's already real. That's when things start shifting, almost too fast to track, because rich emotions are frequency fast passes. You are vibrationally rehearsing the inevitable. And it's not just the law of attraction at play. Scientifically, this is neuroplasticity. Emotion plus repetition equals rewiring. We rehearse wealth every time we dare to feel powerful, before we're given permission. We train the muscle of belief until it no longer wavers. We build momentum like a storm on the inside until the outside finally catches up. You don't have to wait your way into a new life. You think your way into one. You train your nervous system to feel safer, freer, and fuller in abundance. And what once felt impossible becomes completely normal. Your brain starts looking for proof of richness, ease, and luxury everywhere. It filters reality to support the script it's been rehearsing. And what do you know? Opportunities show up, ideas come faster, the right people appear. It's not coincidence, it's coherence. You became a match for the future you insisted on living now. This is how you collapse timelines. This is how the gap between hope and having shrinks into a single moment now. Because you stopped waiting to see it, you became it. You felt it as fact. You remembered that all creation starts first in the unseen, and then you held your frequency steady like a lighthouse, consistent, certain, unshakable, until life caught up and handed you the proof you no longer even needed. The magic isn't out there. It's inside your nervous system, waiting for a command. Tell your mind you're rich, show it with feeling, rehearse it with joy, repeat every day, until doubt is a foreign language. Because your brain doesn't know if you're making it up or manifesting it. So you might as well make it rain. Chapter 12. Assume wealth until it's inevitable. You don't wait for proof when you already know the outcome. That's what assumption is, not a guess, not a hope, not a timid maybe. Assumption is the bold, unshakable knowing that what's yours is done, delivered, decided. The world teaches you to be cautious, to wait and see, to test the waters. But in the realm of energetic wealth creation, caution is delay disguised as logic. Waiting is just resistance with lipstick. And while most people cautiously wait for a sign, the wealthy assume it's already signed, sealed, delivered. We assume wealth not because we see it yet, but because we've decided we're the version of ourselves who has it. It's not reckless, it's remembrance. Deep soul-level remembrance of your original frequency. Before fear, before scarcity, before being told you had to earn it slowly, painfully, traditionally. When a rich person assumes their next million, it's not arrogance, it's alignment. It's not a wild hope. It's the energy underneath their walk, their voice, their choices. Assume wealth, and your world starts glitching in your favor. The parking spot opens, the job offer lands, the email arrives. Not because of luck, but because your identity started magnetizing a different reality. When you assume wealth, your subconscious stops arguing. It stops scanning for evidence why it can't happen, and instead begins collecting proof that it already has. It doesn't care if you're holding cash or not. The subconscious doesn't know time like your calendar does. If you fire off the emotion of already rich, if you live in the frequency of already chosen, your body, your decisions, your behaviors, your magnetism, everything clicks into formation. You no longer try to be rich, you just are. Period. End of story. Next. You're not hoping for wealth, you're walking from it. You're not asking anymore. That phase is over. You've assumed it in your bones, and now you're just meeting the physical breadcrumbs of what already exists on the energetic level. That's the quantum cheat code. You don't chase wealth, you claim it. You assume it so strongly, you collapse timelines. What takes others 10 years, takes you 10 months. You move differently, speak differently. You breathe like someone who knows they can fund any dream, bless others wildly, and live fully without waiting for permission. Most people are practicing scarcity without realizing it. They assume debt, they assume rejection, they assume struggle. Then they wake up surprised it keeps showing up. But assumptions are instructions. Whatever you emotionally assume is what gets assigned to your life. That's how powerful you are. So what if you stopped assuming maybe someday and started assuming now? Of course. Assume you are trusted by money, that it loves being around you, that it multiplies under your direction and adores your presence. Assume that money is inevitable, undeniable, and magnetic to your energy. And suddenly, your nervous system relaxes. You stop the grasping. You stop chasing permission to feel abundant. You already are. And in that space of non-need, you become absolutely, frighteningly, irresistibly attractive to wealth. Because the universe isn't trying to figure out how hard you're working. It's responding to who you believe you already are. You assume wealth in how you speak. Not, I hope I'll start a successful business someday. But, I'm building $1 billion brand because that's what I do. You assume wealth in how you show up. Not, I'm trying to land clients. But people hire me because my energy is priceless. You step into rooms not wondering if you belong, but knowing you're the embodiment of prosperity in motion. Assume you're already trusted by life. But what you need is eager to reach you. Not tomorrow, not when you figure it out. Now, the moment you drop into the identity of someone who is already wealthy, energetically, emotionally, spiritually, everything begins to bend around you to reflect it. It's not magic, it's momentum. Because when your inner world holds the assumption of wealth, your outer world can't help but catch up. So let the doubt die. Let it groan and whisper and throw its last tantrum. You don't need it anymore. It had a job to keep you small, but now you're choosing the version of yourself who assumes wealth so completely that people ask what your secret is. And the answer? You knew it was done long before it showed up. It was inevitable because you assumed it.